Today's video, we'll be looking at the tactics that Enzo Maresca utilized with Chelsea to beat PSG in the Club World Cup final, which we all know was a massive achievement, not only for Chelsea, but for Enzo Maresca. Now, looking at the tactics and with the players he utilized, we were seeing a 4-2-3-1, but really, when the match actually started, this formation definitely turned into something different. Cucurella and Malagusto definitely pushed up quite often throughout this match, and more or less we did see almost a 2-4-3-1, which when you think about it seems ridiculous because when you're playing PSG, these pockets of space are areas that usually PSG want to dominate and take control of. Obviously, with Hakimi, Mendes, and all the wingers that they have that like to push up in these areas, you would think that Chelsea would have sat back, but they did not do that. They took it to them, and we actually saw Cucurella push up often higher up onto the pitch, and there's a reason why, but I do want to back him up just a little bit because when we're looking at this, this allowed Chelsea to actually have multiple opportunities to play the ball around, and this is what we saw in the beginning of the match when they first set the tempo in this game, because they were playing the ball around and PSG really could not get their foot on the ball at all or really get into the game for the first 10 minutes. And because of this, Chelsea were able to do what they wanted to do, and that was dictate the flow of this game. Now, the reason why they moved Cucurella up into this area, though, sometimes too, was because of Vitinha. Now, he obviously is the facilitator for PSG. They love to work through him. He can play balls over the top. But in the first half, he rarely ever had a chance to actually get on top of the ball. And when he did, it was Cucurella, it was Enzo Fernandez, it was Palmer, Reece James. Someone was near him at all times, and therefore it made it very difficult for him to do anything. And because of that, we were able to do this. This really meant that PSG actually had to fall back into more of a defensive ship, and this is something that they're not used to doing. They're used to being on the attack, like I said earlier, and this is something that when they have their foot on the gas pedal, they can dominate the tempo, they can dominate and do what they want to do throughout the match. But Chelsea were not intimidated by them, and yes, I do understand the Real Madrid did show what could happen if you do play a high line. This could have easily went in a different direction, but we have to give credit to this man right here, Robert Sanchez. Played one of his best matches ever for a Chelsea player, if not his entire career. This man made multiple saves that helped Chelsea stay in this match, but also go on to take the lead, because there were opportunities for PSG to actually score in that first half. Had they have scored, this would have been a completely different match, but because of him keeping the clean sheet, getting the Golden Glove for this tournament, you have to applaud this man, and I do believe he's the right man for Chelsea going into Premier League. We definitely saw, and we will talk about him in just a little bit tactical wise and what he was actually able to do, but like I said, he was a key factor, and we need to give credit for him, because had there been a goal for PSG in that first half, this game would have been completely different. But next player I do want to talk about is Cole Palmer and what this man was able to do in this match. He obviously was the player of the tournament, but also in the final. He just is something special. It's remarkable that we have him as a player, but he was able to do different things and drift into these areas. Now, João Pedro obviously made a huge difference in a lot of these opportunities. There was that first chance we had in the first 5-10 minutes of the match where Cole Palmer just missed wide at the far post, but you were already seeing different things that Chelsea were trying to do and how they're trying to operate. But later on, it did come to Palmer again, and he was able to slot the ball home. Again, I believe João Pedro was the man that really did play a factor in this. He definitely played a factor in the second goal by making that overlapping run, allowing Palmer to drift a little bit more inside and sliding the ball into the far post once again. This man, João Pedro, definitely needs to get credit for most of the goals, if not all the goals, for what he was doing, because he was constantly drifting and dragging defenders with him. And again, that second goal that Cole Palmer scored, when he's running and overlapping Cole Palmer, it allowed Cole Palmer to, again, he did a little shimmy and drift into the box where he could absolutely hit a beautiful shot with his left foot, but the defender didn't know what to do, whether he was supposed to go with Palmer or he was supposed to go with Pedro. He just did not know. And again, you do not see that on stats. And this is, again, why João Pedro is such an important signing for Chelsea. And not that Liam Delap can't do that, because he can definitely do that as well. But this is what makes a huge difference. And obviously on the third goal, he had a perfect chip ball. But again, Cole Palmer playing the perfect through ball. It had just enough weight on it, and therefore, again, Donnarumma didn't know what to do. He should come out too fast. Obviously, it would have led to something else, but like I said, it's one of those things, the ball's played perfectly, chips it over him, and puts Chelsea 3-0 up. And again, from that point, Chelsea were able to do what they wanted to do. Now, the reason why we were able to do some of those things, though, again, is because of Sanchez. And I do not know if Chelsea we're looking at some highlights of PSG and on Mendes, but one of the things we noticed in this match was long balls over the top on this side. He constantly had a difficult time defending any ball that was played over the top to him. Now, granted, if we tried dribbling and going through him, it just did not happen. But anytime, again, well, there's Malagusta up here too, if we played the ball over the top, every single time it usually led to us going forward, and because we were able to go forward, then PSG had to really fall back and try to defend as quickly as possible, and it was just not something they were used to. And this is something we kept doing time and time again in this match, and this is why Robert Sanchez is one of those players that we really do want to have, because his ability to distribute the ball out wide over and over again made a huge difference in this match. And on top of that, we also then saw Neto, who also played a massive role in this game, because like we've talked about what he's done throughout this entire tournament, he's been able to just have this free-flowing area to himself. When he has this space in this area, we've seen him time and time again take the ball, go down the sideline, drift in, just do what he needs to again make him isolate, but also, like I said, create chances from this area. And because of this, Hakimi could never really fully get into this game. If you looked at his heat map, Hakimi pretty much sat here and back. He never really got able to push forward, which is really where he's very beautiful and assisting multiple goals in the entire season for PSG, but it just could not happen. I think he had maybe one or two opportunities down this side where he actually did something, but otherwise throughout this entire match he had to constantly track back and watch Neto, because if he did not, Neto clearly would have had an opportunity to score a goal at some point in this game. And he's a great defender, but if you can take him away from the attacking third, it really does allow PSG not to do as much as they want to. And so, like that being said, Enzo Maresca understood what needed to be done in this game. He isolated certain players like Vitinha, Hakimi, and Mendes in this match, but then he also overloaded the midfield when it was needed. And this is, like I said in the last video, if you watch tactics, this game was going to get dominated in the midfield. Whoever controlled this area was going to win this match, and we clearly saw Chelsea do that in this match. And because we were able to overload this entire area, PSG could not get anything done. They pretty much were only trying to play the balls to the outside. They never had ability to go straight down the middle of the pitch and then again do 1-2 passes like we've seen before. This is something that was very difficult, and obviously this flustered PSG. We saw them erupt after the first goal with Cole Palmer. We saw it at the end of the match with Luis Enrique, with João Pedro. Overall, they were not satisfied with what was happening in this match, because they are not used to being dominated like this. But this is one thing with Chelsea, not just for this game, but for the upcoming season in the Premier League, that they are a team that can definitely go toe-to-toe with anyone. It does not matter. Enzo Maresca right now has the perfect combination of players, and granted, if someone does get hurt, that could definitely change things, but currently right now with this squad and these players that we have right now in this team, Chelsea can beat any given team on any given day. Now granted, there's still going to be hard factors. Low blocks are always going to be difficult, but that is where João Pedro comes in. Liam Delap can obviously come in. He did in this match, but like I said, Chelsea have multiple factors on how to beat teams, and even if we need to, we can sit back as well, which we did in this game a little bit throughout the match. We sat back, and then when we needed to, we sprung the ball out to Neto like we talked about earlier. So like I said, there are different ways that Chelsea can beat teams now, and it's so fun to watch them. It's going to be remarkable what they do this upcoming season. So if you enjoyed this video, I greatly appreciate if you do hit the like button, subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video.